this is part 2. Part 1, which you want to check out, is about the visceral attraction, the very first visceral attraction that a woman has to a man, or being repelled. All right, so you want to watch that to find out what it is. Visceral, talking like first thing she sees. All right, nope, it's not the belly, not the looks, it's not the hair, something else.
Very important.
You might be surprised. So the money thing. The video for the 3rd week, I featured a woman on it. The 3rd week of no alcohol. I featured a very pretty woman on it, 41 years old, 2 daughters that I believe are 11 and 9. Who I haven't met. The one time I was at her house to do some handyman stuff, they were in school. But we saw each other 5 days in a row. A few for, afternoon and a couple evening. Well, on the 5th day in a row, she helped me move. She had been to my nice cool house, Mediterranean style, 2 stories, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, in a nice gated townhome community, and who knows what she thought about my financial wherewithal. But when she helped me move from that place to a studio with Thai neighbors instead of rich Russian neighbors and Italians. I've talked about that. It's the last time I've seen her. So, what did she think? Well, it's like, he doesn't have a lot of money, or else why would he be doing this? She knew my rent was like 12,000 baht in the other place, which is still inexpensive by American standards. It's about 320 bucks, something like that at today's exchange rate, at these exchange rates. It used to be more, would be more like 360 or 70. When it was like 30 to 1, 30 baht to the dollar. Now it's like between 35 and 37. Good for me. And then I went to a place that's 3,500, but I like it better. Has a kitchen, close-off kitchen, have my grill in there. It's cool. I like it. So my bed and my office in the same space, a much better front patio. Got a TV with my Roku stick in it. I mean, it's just really cool. My desk, and I work, and it's enough space. Guy living alone. Anyway, so it's 3,500 baht, which is almost exactly $100. I went from 320, 1020 a month to 100, right? So good for me, but for a woman, maybe not the best sign. But so that's what I think it really is. But she has to, rather than saying, hey, I'm shallow and I'm just looking for money, she has to put it on you, right? So the excuse was my language, my F-bombs. And I think I showed her a couple cooking videos on YouTube, and for those who've seen those, I'm doing the cooking and everything, but I intersperse, I spice it up with things, and those involve various levels of invective, aimed and targeted at the political classes. And so that's how. So she's like, your language, I'm afraid, and everything. Well, here's what I learned from that. If someone has some charge or complaint against you in the context of developing some sort of relationship, what's the very first thing they'll do if they level that charge against you? They'll ask you questions, right? See, that was the giveaway. I even invited her to ask me any questions. I said, oh, ask me any questions. I'll tell you honestly and transparently. And nope, not one single question. And I sent her a video or two about, you know, the way English is a first language speakers, you know, like Brits and Aussies and Americans and Canadians and Kiwis, you know, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, you know, all of us, you know, we have dirty mouths, especially the men, but even some of the women, right? And we have a lot of foul words that can mean the opposite of each other depending on how you use it. The classic one being the word cunt, you know. Now, this hasn't filtered over to America yet, but if you have an English mate, you know, say, how you doing? How you doing, you cunt? That's endearing. That's an endearment, you know. Or you say, or if you're talking about that person, he's like, oh, he's a right proper cunt, you know. But of course, it can be used in the negative as well. All right, it's just one example. So someone who doesn't speak English as a first language, and not only that, isn't particularly great at English, you know, for them to you know, question your usage of the English language is pretty far-fetched. So I recognized that right off the deal, and I thought, you know, far more likely that it's that move that she helped me with because she had the car, and I didn't want to rent a car for a day, right? And of course, that's part of it too. It's like, I don't want to spend 800 baht for the day. I did take her out to dinner, and then she took me back to retrieve my motorbike at the department store where I bought my computer table and loaded it in her car. The goodbye was, I detected a little bit cold, but I didn't think much of it. And last time I've seen her. Now here's the other clue about her, is that she mentioned several times that her last boyfriend was a Thai guy, a doctor, I think she said, so made good money, and that he did everything for her, supported her, and did everything, and you know, while she was working, and that's I think that's how she was able to pay down her house. I don't know how long they were together. I think she said like 8 months or something like that. But you know, she sports a brand new, you know, a late model iPhone and an iPad, you know, and she said that, you know, he bought them for her, right? And then, so after we hadn't seen each other, and I'd given her, you know, I said, look, if you have any questions, ask away. And I sent her a video about how vulgarity is used in the English language. Not a single question. Didn't mention it, didn't bring it up. So that confirmed for me that was just an excuse, right? And that it was really about that move, which displayed that, you know, I'm not made of money. But then one time, I'm gonna give her a vid call. And so I hit the call. Boom. She answers like at the very, very first ring. I don't know what news she was expecting. And she was cordial. It was nice. It was like weird because she'd been quite non-communicative in text. She answered right up. She was da-da-da-da-da. And as if to come clean without coming clean, during the course of the conversation, she mentioned again her boyfriend that did everything for her and supported her and da 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 da. So now you know. See, there's this thing in Asia about, you know, saving face. So you do that for yourself by behaving in a certain way, but you extend his golden rule, do unto others, sort of thing. And so you extend that to others by not necessarily telling them what the real reason is, right? So, you know, and if you think about it, the vulgarity is something that I do on purpose, and I don't have to, right? So that makes me, you know, in some ways, lacking in character or whatever, of something that I can fix. Whereas money is, you know, and I told her I lost a lot of money during COVID, 3 million baht or 10 million baht. So, and I'm, you know, working to make that back, because when you have a financial setback, don't complain about it. If someone, you know, gets you for a lot of money, don't go chasing after it. There's one thing you can do when you've suffered a financial setback or loss or whatever. You make more money. That's it. You know, if people did that, oh, we're just going to make more money. You know, people and corporations, you'd put lawyers out of business, literally, except criminal prosecution and defense lawyers. Everybody else would be out of business, you know. Anyway, so I think that wraps this one up. You know, do I falter? No. You know, would I appreciate the truth? Like, hey, you're not what I'm looking for, and it's about money. You know, I'm really, you know, I have 2 daughters, and I'm really looking for somebody. This story is about Beatrice's father. It's a great story. I've heard him tell it a million times, right? So he's in the U.S. Air Force. He's an air traffic controller, stationed somewhere in the Southwest, like Colorado, I believe. Her dad, Sam Fabel. So he's Air Force guy stationed in, this is like in the 50s, you know, stationed in Colorado, air traffic control. And somewhere along the way, he spots this girl, Lucia, right? And I think he told his friend, his buddy, he's right off the bat, says, I'm gonna marry her. And so, but you know, back then, military guys, enlisted military, or even officers, you know, did not make much money at all. So he saved enough to ask her out on a date for dinner. So they go to dinner. She orders, and he realizes he's only got enough money to order a cup of coffee. Now, how fucking hilarious is that, right? But the story has more to it, because he would always say that his singular focus was to make enough money, to save enough money to get married. See, men had a notion back then, you know. His income as a military guy was what his income was, and so he had to save money in order to basically show Lucia that he was going to be able to support her. And it happened. That was 6 kids ago, and they're still together, both in their 90s. Now that's a great story, but they were young kids at the time, That's appropriate. I'm not. And so for me, I think all of this thing of you know, my efforts with the past girl, which highly focuses on her kids. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Absolutely. That never would have happened beyond May had it not been for the children. So, and that's why I don't regret it. Hold no on animosity. I can't. So anyway, all right, that's going to conclude this video.